the vile evil had destroyed another of the heroes' camps. Screaming at the top of their voices, the survivors...
While in real life I certainly have a few character flaws, in video games I love to play as the unwavering hero, the paragon of light and justice and all things good, and all my interactions with NPCs are delightfully positive, never uttering a bad word nor ever denying to help a damsel in distress. There's something good about being, well, good. Dungeons 4 from Realmforge and Kalypso Media take that option right off the table, to see how the other evil half lives. What's it like? Put on your iron gauntlet, practice your evil villain laugh, and prepare to take over the world as we review Dungeons 4 on Nintendo Switch. Before we start being evil, would you mind doing one good deed by liking and subscribing? It's the best way to help What's It Like conquer YouTube, and I can't thank you enough for doing so. Dungeons 4 devilishly puts you in the spiky boots of the random title here, Evil One, who loves all things death and destruction. His not-so-trusty sidekick, Talia, is caught up in some family dramas when we start the game with her charismatic do-gooder brother, Tristan, and after defeating him in battle, she accidentally snaps you away. In your absence, the world falls back into peace, and things are quite looking up for the good guys. Thankfully, you're not out of action for long, and so begins the quest to raise your army, find a new body to materialize into, and plunge the world back into darkness.
What could possibly go wrong?
While Dungeons 4's synopsis sounds very heavy on themes, its greatest strength is how it employs its witty writing to inject humour throughout, poking fun at video game tropes, other franchises, and frequently at itself. The characters have great banter between themselves, and even the narrator does a fantastic job of keeping everything lighthearted. No one is safe, including Marvel, Warcraft, microtransactions, and even the game it's closely based on, Dungeon Keeper. For those who are new to the franchise, Dungeons plays out in both the underground and the overworld, seamlessly switching between gameplay styles on the fly. Under the surface, the game is a base building tower defense style game. You plan out your rooms, build facilities and traps, while also building up your army and defending against heroes who have entered your dungeon to save the day. There are different tech trees to strengthen your dungeon and army's factions, which can be funded by gold and evilness, a currency awarded for doing evil things like sacking a town in the overworld or killing a really good character like a unicorn. There's some resource management involved as you have to keep your army fed and paid, but the game opts to make those mechanics a bit more automated than not, allowing you to focus on the fun stuff. Above the surface, the game switches to a real-time strategy game, leading your creatures into battle against Tristan and his factions of good, all while the banter rolls back and forth, poking fun at everything that's happening. You will usually have to take over towns or destroy a certain building to complete the mission, as well as achieve bonus objectives like intercepting construction crews trying to undo your destruction for bonus evil points. The gameplay mechanics of Dungeons 4 are well tuned, and there's always something to do or to work towards, which make upgrading or amassing your army an exciting gameplay loop. Realmforge has learned a lot from the Dungeons 3 port, as Dungeons 4 both looks and performs better than its predecessor on the handheld console. The graphics and assets look sharper, the frame rate in the campaign mode holds relatively steady, dipping only if there's a fair amount of units on screen, and the campaign is both hilarious and fun. The resolution is significantly lower on handheld, leading to a more pixelated look, but it does a decent job of looking great. Graphical effects like the evil spreading and corrupting all around when you take control of a town never gets old, and the comic-style cutscenes do a good job of furthering the narrative along with its fantastic voice acting. There are a lot of small details that come together to make Dungeons 4 on Switch come to life, such as the music subtly changing from a folksy medieval tune to a more dark and brooding score when you switch to overseeing your dungeon. The Nintendo Switch version also features some cheeky exclusive cosmetics, such as dressing up your snots as toads, and Talia herself being able to wear a Princess Peach style outfit. All of this though can be turned off should you wish for a more vanilla experience. Kalypso and Realmforge are opting to provide content parity with Dungeons 4 on other formats as well, so Switch owners won't have to miss out on future DLC packages should they wish to purchase them. Unfortunately, there are some downsides to being evil, and the Switch version of Dungeons 4 has a couple of issues that holds it back from being a truly good game. Framerate issues do take hold towards the end of campaigns, especially when there can be 60 plus characters on screen. It's still playable by all means, but it can make the heat of battle a more stuttered experience. I also spent around 6 hours testing out the online functionality with the new co-op skirmish mode, which was gloriously fun. Except we would have a crash to the home screen every half an hour or so on certain maps, as well as freezing to force an exit to the home screen, and the Storming of Dalaran map couldn't even load no matter what we tried. It's odd because then we had a solid 2.5 hour session with 0 issues on the Break Everything map. Thankfully, Dungeons 4 includes an autosave feature so we could just reconnect and resume our game, but it did get a little frustrating doing it 7 to 8 times before being able to complete a map. Despite these issues, I still had so much fun, especially in the session that didn't crash, with my partner managing the dungeon research and finance while I took to the surface to command our army. In co-op, you can both do whatever you like gameplay wise, and players will share resources, and we just found it worked doing it that way. For my evil overlords, after accessibility options, Dungeons 4 has a range of options which will help make being evil a little bit smoother. It features UI scaling, the ability to increase your text size, hiding both XP and health bars to reduce clutter, reducing certain effects like resources and blood spatter, changing multiple sound levels to customize your audio experience, and even having the option to turn off potentially unpleasant sounds. You can even change the frequency of your narrator and his banter. At $75 Australian, Dungeons 4 is a premium price game that manages to provide good value for money, especially for real-time strategy and management sim enthusiasts. The main campaign will take you anywhere from 25 to 30 hours to finish, and Skirmish will provide plenty of challenges and abilities to unlock to take your game further. There is also DLC which will come in a separate review, and that adds a substantial Wild West themed campaign to the game. While I'll always be a champion for light and all things good, Dungeons 4 has showed me that it's good to be bad, with its devilishly wicked humour, fantastic gameplay, and light-hearted chaos. Sure, it could do with a patch to balance out the co-op gameplay and tidy up those frame rates, but even those issues couldn't dissuade me to put my controller down. Now that I've finished writing my review, I'm looking forward to just spending more time perfecting my dungeon and battle tactics. It's safe to say that Dungeons 4 just might be my favourite game where I can be evil, warts and all. So, what's it like? Dungeons 4 is like Dungeon Keeper crossed with Warcraft 3.
Have now discovered the third burial chamber as well.
I award it an 80 out of 100. In the interest of full disclosure, a review copy was provided by Kalypso Media, but this doesn't influence my score.
And so the story ends. We'll tell you how the story continues in overpriced microtransaction bites.
Thanks so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. The best way you can support me is to like and subscribe and continue watching my content if you enjoy it. But if you do want to go that bit extra, you can buy me a coffee or join our Patreon, which shows you behind the scenes of this channel. Thanks again.